During the Reformation, and for quite a few of our evangelical brothers and sisters still now, devotion to the saints is something very contentious. The saints themselves were seen, and are still seen by some, as competitors, rivals of Christ. But in fact, this is not the case. Rather, in the saints, we see the fruits of grace. We see the Christian life fully lived out thanks to the grace and inspiration of God. The saints are not rivals of Christ. Instead, they are those who lived lives as Christ-like as possible. They follow the pattern of life laid out by Jesus Christ as much as they could. So what is the pattern of life that Jesus leaves us? Well, today the letter of Paul to the Philippians gives us an example of this pattern of life. Paul quotes a hymn about Christ, and he says this: his state, Jesus Christ's, was divine, yet he did not cling to his equality with God, but emptied himself to assume the condition of a servant. In other Bible translations, we read the same verse as, Jesus Christ did not consider his equality with God as something to be taken advantage of. Or in the King James Version, Jesus Christ thought it not robbery to be equal with God. So Jesus shows us the highest and the most remarkable degree of humility. He who is God, equal to God the Father, the second person of the Most Holy Trinity. He humbled himself to become one of us for our salvation, and he humbled himself to die for us, to give us life, and died on the cross, which at that time was one of the most, if not the most, shameful death possible. Humility then becomes a key virtue, a key habit and way of life for Christians. And we see that displayed in the lives of all the saints, or maybe most of the saints. Some of them often had a bit of a temper, but in most of them, in all of them, we see the humility of Christ displayed by our brothers and sisters. We should ask ourselves, what do we cling to? What do we take advantage of? Is it position? Is it self-esteem? What is it? If there is something that prevents us from following Christ in the way the saints did, we should think about it, and by developing the virtue, the habit of humility, put that aside. In that way, we will fulfill what Paul says to the early Christians. In your minds, you should be like Christ Jesus.